It was already broken at that point with the relationship. I was pretty much waiting for an opportunity. I guess I didn't know that necessarily, but I was at a point where something had to break.
Welcome back to When Our Adult Children Walk Away. I'm Dr. Janet Steinkamp, a coach and consultant who works with parents and families every day who are trying to find their way through the darkness of a broken relationship with an adult child. No guilt, no shame, no blame. This is part 2 of a 3-part series called When It Was Us. My daughter Brianna and I sharing our own estrangement story for the first time publicly together. In part 1, we went back to the beginning, the childhood years, the community we grew up in, and the communication patterns that quietly did their damage. And at the end of the conversation, Bree said something that I think stopped a lot of us in our tracks. She said, "From here, things took a hard nosedive." And so today, we're going to go there. We're going to talk about that nosedive. This episode lives in the hardest part of our story. These are the most difficult things to talk about. And we're going to talk about what actually happened in those years after Bree graduated from college, the circumstances that pushed her toward that breaking point, and her decision to walk away, and what the silence that followed felt like for both of us. This is the part of the story that most people never talk about. Today, we're talking about it. So, Brianna, welcome back.
Thank you.
I appreciated our conversation in the first episode, and I know this was a tough one. So we're going to do our best to dig into this a little bit. I want to start exactly where we left off. At the end of the last conversation, you said that as a young adult, things got messy and that they took a hard dive. And I want to go there. What actually happened in those years after you graduated from college?
There was already a feeling of no support really from you guys emotionally, and in like trying to navigate life as a new adult. There was not the support that I wish there would have been. I didn't see you guys as a support, which probably sucks to hear as a parent, but that mixed with just being a new adult, graduating, the world is scary and new, and everything you thought that would never happen, like responsibilities and all that stuff, they're all finally there. And the best way I can describe it is like just normal life stressors increased, also an increased amount of stressors due to my specific situation increased. Instead of being able to lean on you guys for help, I had to lie more and I had to cover more and I had to pretend like everything was okay more. So like my stressors went up and the lies increased, and it just became this like mountain of fake, it was just a disaster. Like I was balancing everyone's emotions. I was balancing your guys' emotions. I was balancing my partner's emotions, and it just became too much. And that's when everything snapped.
Right. So yes, I can absolutely see and hear where that would have been the situation. And we didn't know how to help, or I don't know that we recognized there needed to be help.
Yes. With you saying that, just from how I felt it was very on point for how the rest of my life had felt up to that point, that you guys did not like my decision to stay in Minnesota. You did not like how I was going to stay in Minnesota and what that involved. Therefore, it was kind of like, don't look to us. If you want to come out here, we're here for you, but we do not support what you're doing. So best of luck. I had just never felt unconditional support and love from you guys. And that was just another moment where I was like, okay, so now I've just disappointed them completely. They hate all my choices that I'm making right now. And therefore they have stepped aside and they said, when you decide to come do our choices, we're here for you. I can compartmentalize very well and just pretend like everything's good. And I convince myself, like I catch myself doing it sometimes. The physical distance that is not what made me feel not supported by you guys at that time. You know, whether you were 100 miles away where we grew up or you were 1,300 miles away, that didn't really matter. It was just once again, I feel shame. I've let my parents down. The only thing I know how to do to make me feel okay is to just compartmentalize that, push it aside, which creates a greater disconnect between us. And I never felt like I could lean on you guys.
That, I think, is a great description of what estrangement is. It is exactly what you just described. Both of us were ignoring, maybe not even recognizing to ignore. You have to first comprehend what's going on in order to acknowledge it and change. And I don't think I could comprehend how the disconnect was taking root. And the messier it got, the further we moved away from each other. And we were the parents. How did you actually walk away? Did we have a conversation that caused that to happen? I can think of one significant event, and I can feel the smile on my face. It wasn't funny then. And I look back now and I can certainly see the absurdity of the conversation. And I think many parents listening have had that same moment. So can you describe from your perspective how what was the final unraveling?
So between the stage of when I just graduated and made the choice to stay in Minnesota and the time when I actually cut contact with you guys, a lot went down. And there was a lot to do with me balancing all these fake truths. Really, I was in like survival mode due to the circumstances I was in, and it became so frustrating. The biggest damaging moment was when I had to tell you guys I was pregnant. And that was like one of the worst moments of my life. And I already knew it was not the best situation. And I was really hoping that you guys wouldn't react the way that you did. It was like a pretty pivotal moment where you guys made it clear I had done the ultimate. I had managed to fail like incredibly. And that's really hard at a young age. I mean, I was 24, but I was pregnant with twins, and that, you're trying to be happy, even if it's unexpected. And then it was so bad. It was so bad. And it completely solidified every feeling of like failure, shame, imperfection, conditional love, conditional support. If I were to just be like, help, everything's not good, I've messed up so bad, I knew you guys wouldn't like turn me away, but it would be like, okay, here, come with us. We knew this was going to happen. We're going to take care of this, but now you're really going to live under our lenses and you're going to do things our way because we let you try and it didn't go well. And it was like, that's how it felt. If I told you how bad things were, I either had to forfeit what I had created for myself and basically submit to you guys or be on my own. After the pregnancy, to be honest, our relationship was a joke to me. Like it still held a lot of weight. It was crushing to me. Like every interaction, I just felt like a disappointment, but I didn't look to our relationship for anything.
Right.
Like I have learned in life to really make a point to understand what you can get from each relationship. And if you do that, then you don't often get let down. So right. I knew what I would get from you guys. I knew I could have happy moments. We could have holidays. There would be fun times, but that was it. Like I'm not going to hold my breath for anything more than just surface level little things.
What I hear you saying, the trust was gone. There was no respect from us. You were feeling absolutely no respect. And honestly, I can say I don't think we felt respect. We felt fear. We felt confusion. We felt abandoned, like there was a replacement family. Like we didn't know how to connect. So you had to find somebody to connect with.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
At that time, did you like reflect at all or think why I would have latched onto another family? Because I feel like before you guys felt like victims a lot. Like I had done this to you and I had picked this other family and that's how I felt. Do you see it differently now as like a survival technique or did you see that at the time?
Absolutely. I mean, it is interesting, isn't it, to think about what we thought then and what we know now, because to me anyway, it's a whole different reality. It's a whole different experience. And I think at the time, there was that sense of simply rejecting us, rejecting our values, rejecting our beliefs. And because there were other aspects to this, there was a racial aspect, racial differences, religious differences, socioeconomic differences. We just felt like you had chosen a different world, like ours was not the world you wanted to be in. Now, what
Yeah.
I know is that you didn't really have a choice. In those moments, as you say, it was them or us, and we were not the safe place to be. We were not the ones that accepted you. In reality, there weren't any hysterics. There were no threats. There were no, how dare you? There was immense disappointment. We were heartbroken for you. And we wanted you to be safe and healthy. And I was pretty committed to walking through that pregnancy with you. It's not like we weren't involved, but like you say, it was so surface. It was so superficial. We were not emotionally or psychologically your support system.
Even when you would send clothes and things, it was like, it's not real. Like, they can send this stuff. It's helpful. I will say thank you. It's thoughtful. It doesn't change that they're completely disappointed in me.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty terrible way to go through a pregnancy.
Yeah.
And also, things were really bad at home. So, like,
in your own home, in your life.
Yeah. Like, I could not have been more alone.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You don't have to be sorry. It is what it is, and it's how it played out, and things are better now than they ever could have been. So,
yeah, I agree.
I think all this needed to be done. It was pretty painful.
There's no question that your decision to walk away from us was necessary for your survival. I don't think I would have understood the state of our relationship, how you were feeling, where this had gone for you. I couldn't step away from my own experience enough to really understand yours, which is such a shallow thing as a human being. And yet, I don't think it's unusual for parents. I hear that regularly. And it's like unbraiding Jell-O. This was your experience. It was your pregnancy. This was about you. And for years growing up, you would say to me, Mom, this is not about you. And I never knew what you meant. I didn't even understand what you were saying. And had you not walked away from us, I don't think I would have understood that ever. And I'm very sorry, truly sorry, that you had to get to this point in these circumstances that you're describing for things to fall apart enough between us that I could come to understand that. I mean, there's just no reason, looking back, that as an intelligent human being, I couldn't have gotten it earlier. I just couldn't see it. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't imagine it. And so I think it's important to acknowledge that. What we've gone through over the last several years, as painful as it was, in many ways, I think it was necessary to get where we are now, which I love. I love where we are now. But I am sorry we had to go through all of that. And especially you, that you are the one.
I appreciate you recognizing that it was not supposed to be about you. That's something we've worked on.
We have.
Over the years.
We have.
But I am also sorry. I don't think it's crazy that you weren't jumping up and down excited. I just needed like superpower parents at that point. Like, that's like the only thing that would have been okay. And it's fair that you guys didn't have that in your pocket at that moment and weren't prepared for it. And none of us were prepared for it.
Yeah, right. Okay. I appreciate you saying those things. I do know those things about you, and that just from conversations we've had over the years, that we were all doing the best we could in really unfortunate and painful moments. Let's fast forward, because it was 2 years from these conversations to when you actually stepped away.
Probably 2.5.
Right. So through the pregnancy, the boys were born. It was a high-risk pregnancy, lots of stress. Then there was an event that I don't know, that's a whole nother episode to talk about that particular event. I like to call it the Hot Wheels conversation. That was really where things broke. It was really the final crack.
To be clear, I was already broken at that point with the relationship. I was pretty much waiting for an opportunity.
Oh, really?
I mean, I guess I didn't know that necessarily, but I was at a point where something had to break, and whichever one came first, I guess, was going to be it.
Right. So was there a sense that it was just the last straw, and when was it going to hit?
Oh, 100%.
Right.
I was terrified and dreading for that visit. I knew it was going to be awful. I couldn't have assumed it would lead to no communication for 2 years, but I knew. I mean, just knowing all the parties involved in it, I was pretty certain something was going to have to go. And I knew I couldn't manage the situation any longer. Like, I didn't have it in me. So it was I can't break because I've got kids now that need me. So one party here, one side's somebody's got to crack because I can't do it anymore. It was COVID. We were quarantined. It was bad. The whole thing. It was just like this. It was just a tornado of everything that could have gone wrong.
Right.
I mean, things can always get worse. So like, I know there's people that have terrible situations that, are different and we can't imagine. But in my world, it was everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
In that visit.
Leading up to it, but then in that visit, yeah, I was pretty much just holding back tears, walking on eggshells, holding my breath the entire time. I mean, I didn't even want you guys in the same house at that point.
Right. And at the same time, your dad said, don't go. And I said, I'm going. So had I been listening differently, would I have been able to understand what was going on and helped avoid it? Regardless, I agree with you. Something was going to go. Something was going to be the final break because we were too far gone. It was all too fragile, too brittle, and something was going to break. And I don't think that is unusual in estrangement for families. I mean, it was very unusual for us. It was unfortunate. It was deeply personal. The darkest time in our family, I think. Really, truly, darkest time. And the other part of me wants to say to the people who are listening, we understand you are probably saying, me too. Me too. We went through that moment. And so then, okay, I'm kicked out of the house. I behave poorly. It all unravels. Off we go to our separate corners. And for 3 years, we don't speak. Right? I mean, we tried in the beginning. Your dad and I sent videos, emails, all the things that we know now were not helpful. He did not understand what was going on in your home.
No, you guys did not know because that was my choice. I played it off and I did that for everybody because I didn't know what else to do. I just want to point out that everything that, like you said, you were trying to be helpful. You were trying to do all these things. You were doing things that would typically be seen as helpful. You guys weren't doing like outlandish things. You were being helpful. It's just that there was no way for you to know that in my situation, it was not helpful. I did try to communicate in certain ways, but I doubt they obviously weren't productive ways, but that, like, I'm not sure. You weren't doing anything wrong. You were doing what parents are supposed to do. It's just in this specific situation, it was backfiring. So I think probably a lot of parents feel like they're doing what they should be doing and they think that they're being helpful. And like, technically they are, but it's not working for the situation.
I really appreciate you saying that because I think it's an important point. These were not, just like we said in episode 1, there was nothing in this section of our story that was in and of itself wrong, a problem. It's like it was counterintuitive. We didn't understand the dynamics you were living in, and how our actions complicated things for you. And you were not in a position that you were able to communicate that directly to us because of how we would respond. I think that is an important thing for the listeners to know, because you do think you're doing the right thing as a parent. Everybody else is doing these same things, and it looks like it's the right thing to do. So, Bree, in the midst of all this, we're not speaking, COVID's coming to an end, lots going on, kids are growing up, big demands, money is always tight. Was there a time that you wanted to reach out to us, that you thought about us?
So my memories are pretty limited from these years, but my immediate response in my head was no, not for a couple of years. And that's messed up to say, but even though life was not getting any better, it was definitely getting worse in many ways on my own, not having to balance you guys. And during that time, I really let go of all of the shame and everything I had felt growing up. There was a lot of relief in that. And like I had said before, I had learned not to lean on you guys for support. You guys had tried to communicate for probably the first year. You had sent letters, but even in the letters, I was like, yeah, this is still about you. Like, you're not even asking the right questions. You're missing everything. You're missing the entire point. And it just pushed me way further. If I were to communicate back with you, it would just be me managing your emotions more. And this is so painful for you guys. Well, guess what? It's really freaking painful for me too. Really sucks for me too. And things are not good. And I can't take this on for you. This is not how I ever thought my life would go, that I would have no communication with family. I was thinking about this the other day. I can't remember if it was Christmas or my birthday, but I'm pretty sure it was Christmas. It was the first time you guys didn't reach out for a holiday. And I was like, my God, they didn't. And there was like a moment where I was like, but only for a moment. And then I was like, I felt such relief, but like also that to me was a point where I was like, oh my gosh, they're hearing what I'm saying. Like it didn't make me sad like you would think it would. This is what you've been asking for. It's what you've been pushing for. They didn't reach out. They heard you. They're probably mad right now. They're probably angry and sad and all these things, and who knows what they're feeling. But bottom line, they listened to you, and they're going to have to go through this too to get anywhere. But as long as they're reaching out, and for you guys to fight those things, listen to what I said and step back, even if I knew you didn't understand why, I knew you didn't understand, but just the fact that you respected my wish. It was a really good moment, honestly, and I felt hope, honestly, in that moment.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing you say that. And I know you've told me that story in a lot of ways, that what you said in the last 60 seconds, in the last minute, kept me going, knowing that story. Wait, I need a moment.
Okay.
I think there is great power in knowing that for parents. It's a funny thing to hear that and to take it on board, because it is fighting every parental instinct you have to let go, to step back, to be quiet, to give you the space you're asking for. I do think it's one of the hardest things.
I can't imagine.
And yet it is what you really needed. It's what you genuinely, absolutely needed. And so once we figured that out, everything changed. Everything changed. And we started coming up with some ways to deal with that at home. We came up with some ways to manage that and still feel like we were connected, but you didn't even know we were doing it. It didn't even include you. But we knew someday it would matter. And it did in the end. It did in the end. For Christmas, it's not that we didn't think about you. I bought gifts like I would always buy gifts. I'm a super shopper, and I did the whole thing. And then I donated it to a family. Never told you. It wasn't your business. really at that point, it wasn't your business. That was how we were going to deal with that. And what I've heard you say in the past is that that really meant a lot to you.
I never once thought that you guys weren't thinking about me on Christmas. Like, I think majority of kids would be able to assume that their parents are still thinking about them, even if they're not hearing from them. So it didn't feel like they've forgotten about me or something. It felt the opposite, which is weird. But
Meaning
I,
that they were
it
doing the
felt
right thing.
actually like you were, yeah, it was almost like, because turning away your parents is not, it's exactly against all of your instincts. Like having to make the choice to cut your parents off is against everything, but you only do it when you don't have any other options. And so for a parent, I can't imagine as a parent now being able to not reach out for a holiday or, accept no communication. But you doing that, that was like the most selfless thing I had ever recognized. You do, I mean, obviously you've done a million selfless things for me or my mom, but like that was the most meaningful thing because I was like, they are putting aside their own, this is not about them now. Like, even if they have, however they're getting themselves through this, like, I'm not going to reach out. I'm like, I don't care if they're feeling petty. I don't care if they're feeling angry or whatever. It doesn't matter because the bottom line is we're getting somewhere and they're
Right.
doing exactly what they don't want to do, which is a selfless thing. And it doesn't make much sense outside of the moment, but in the moment, there was no question of you guys caring. There was no question of whether or not you're on my, or whether or not I'm on your mind, or I'm so glad that you guys found ways to work through it. And I'm glad the family got all of our fun gifts because you're a really great shopper. But yeah, there was never a question of you guys caring. It was the action of finally listening that actually showed you were. You were no longer thinking about yourselves. You were thinking about, well, me or us or how to move forward because it wasn't working before. So you were trying something new.
Right. I think that's really helpful for me, obviously, to hear. And I'm grateful for you sharing that. And also for other families to hear because parents wonder, are my kids listening? Are they thinking about me today? Are my kids missing me today on this holiday or this birthday or whatever the event is? Do they even think about me? Am I even on their mind? And no matter how many times I say, I think that you are on their mind, hearing it from you, I think is a different thing. It means something to hear that from you. So I appreciate that. So before we close out this episode, I want to ask you, because I know that somewhere in the people who are listening to us right now, somebody is sitting there in their own version of this darkness, these dark, difficult days. And there's also an adult child on the other end of that relationship sitting in their own version of this story. What would you say to them?
I think I would say that the best thing you can do is to just stop doing everything for a bit and think about, I mean, whether that's an hour or a week, whatever, but slow down because everything that you think you're doing right are all the things that should be right in a typical setting, but for whatever reason, they're not right now. So just like hit the brakes a little bit. And this is more for the parents. Hit the brakes. So it's really important to try to see your kid's life for what it actually is, not for what it looks like or what you want it to be or what they say it is, or understand that there are things that you might not know going on. It's not a rejection from your child. There's a reason things are the way they are. For kids, I don't know. It all sucks. And if there's a reason that you're at this point, it's obviously been complicated. Nobody gets to the point of cutting off their parents unless things have gotten to a point where something's not manageable anymore. So just take care of yourself and be mindful. You don't have to be mean in this process. Sometimes silence is better than anger, I guess.
That's fair. I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. Silence doesn't have to be, Yeah.
Sometimes, I don't know. And then to both parties, I think you really got to get down, just let it get as painful as it can get. Because otherwise, I don't know, everything that hurts, just let it be painful and just accept it for what it is, and it will get better. But if you try to pretend it's not bad, or you try to convince yourself of XYZ, then you're not really going through it. You just gotta sit in the pain and the nastiness of it.
Mm.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, I feel I have good feelings of thinking back to those horrible feelings, if that makes sense. It's very grounding to think back to them now and to understand that we have come back from it and we are stronger now. And generally, when things hurt, that's when you do grow stronger. So even if it's awful right now, that's where you're at, and there's no way it could have gotten better without getting to that point.
Right. It's painful for a reason. It's painful.
It had to break, yeah. And you couldn't, all you can do is fix it now. So,
yeah. All right. Well, this was quite a conversation. I mean, I think it is, it is certainly, those days were certainly what got us here. And so I think for now, let's kind of put a pin in it for the next episode. And I'm just so grateful that you're willing to have this conversation and trust me to be able to manage it with you. It's taken us a bit to get here. So now in part 3, the final episode of this series, Brianna and I are going to talk about what came next. Who reached out first, how the conversation got started, what that looked like, how it played out, and what each of us had to let go of, and what we had to say out loud before a real relationship was possible. We had to, like we say, shine light on it, get things out that were sitting in the darkness, and what the relationship we have today actually looks like what's real, right? Not just for the video, not just for the public, but what's really real for us, because it is different than what things used to be. I hear that often. We'll never have the relationship we used to have. And my reaction to that is thank God, because it wasn't real. It wasn't good. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, for trusting us with your ears and your hearts over these episodes. If this series meant something to you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. That is how these conversations reach the families that need them most. Follow or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and come back, because Bria and I are just getting started, and so is this conversation. You can find resources and connect with me directly at whenouradultchildrenwalkaway.com. Until next time, you are not alone. There is a way through.
Thank you for listening to When Our Adult Children Walk Away, presented by Dr. Janet Steinkamp in partnership with Balancing Life's Issues and produced by me, Kai. Want to connect with Dr. Janet? You can find resources, connect with her directly, and learn more about the work we do at whenouradultchildrenwalkaway.com. And be sure to follow and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, including YouTube. Anything else to add, Miles?
Yeah.